On this video of the Algorithm Generator 2.0, I would like to show or discuss the reason we have so many options for the Bight-Boundaries in pineapples. So here we have the AG20, so I double click that, brings up our menu, square it up a little bit, and we're wanting to do a standard 3-pass knot. So we're going to select 3. So I hit 3 and hit enter. We're wanting to do a standard pineapple knot, so I hit 2 and enter. Now here's our Bight-Boundaries. The number one choice is Bight-Boundary 1-1. We don't commonly tie the knot that way, but there are times that you might want to. Now, for tying a type 1 pineapple, number 2 is the selection that we would choose, and it is Bight-Boundary 2-2. That's our standard pineapple that most everybody ties. Now, on number 3, we have Bight-Boundary 1-2. Normally, this would be a type 2 pineapple. I normally put the left-hand side of the second knot inside the primary knot and go outside the right-hand side. But there's times that you might want your knot to move a little bit to the left, so you will use this one. So that is the reason that this selection is there. So you can do it either way, out the left or out the right. We are going to select 4. So I hit 4, hit enter. Now, this is our third knot. So we're going to pick the Bight-Boundary for our third knot. Number 1 is Bight-Boundary 3-3. Now, because we selected a type 2 pineapple for our first 2 knots, this menu allows you to tie the third knot in the center of the 2 knots that we have already tied. So you can go from Bight-Boundary 3 to Bight-Boundary 3. Now, 2 will allow you to make this a type 3 pineapple by going from the outside on the left to the very inside on the right. And that would be a type 3 pineapple. Now, on number 3, this is the one that I usually use. I like to put my left hand bites on the inside of the knots that are already tied and go out the top or the right hand side of the knot. So that is what we're going to select, is number 3. Now the reason you might want to select the other one is you've got those 2 knots tied on a foundation or on the end of a little button, and it's not covering right, it's not quite centered. You might need to move it a little to the right or a little to the left, and that's when you would select one of those different Bight-Boundaries. Now, this is asking how many parts and bites do you wish to have in the primary knot. That we're going to input the number of parts, which we're going to do 7 parts, and then input the number of bites. We're going to go 6 bites, so we'll put 6 and hit enter. We want to save it to a file, so we will say yes and hit enter. Up our 21 total parts, 18 total bites, 3-pass, type 3 standard pineapple knot. So where we have selected the 7/6 is our primary, and then when we did this second knot, we did bight boundary 2 and 1. We tied our 2-pass, or our tight 2 pineapple knot to the outside on the right. Now, on the third knot, we selected bight boundaries 3 and 1. So it is also a 7-part 6-bight casa knot, which makes it a type S3 pineapple knot. And where our bites are on the number 3, so it is on the inside of the first 2 knots, and it is going clear outside the right hand side of the knots and creating a new set of outside bight boundaries. So I hope that will just explain the use of switching up which bight boundaries you use. I hope that I explained this where you can understand it, and that you will try tying the knots on different bight boundaries to see which way you like to tie them. Thank you for watching.